Hello, welcome to another interesting episode of the program Sports Preview on Bua Community Voice. As interesting that on this episode, we're talking about one of the greatest, fastest rising young players of English football, maybe world football. No other person but Cole German Palmer. He is a boy born on the 6th of May in 2002, just age 23 now, in England. 6 feet in height. A lot of persons say, as an attacking midfielder or a winger, he's one of the most talented players to come out from the shores of England in modern times. We are expecting to see him rule the world if he makes it to the plane going to the World Cup in Mexico, America, Canada. But today, we're not talking about him in a bad light, or maybe in a good light, but we're talking about his recent decision. Some are saying that he's handing in a transfer request to move back to Manchester. But this time, the red side of Manchester. He started his academy football in Manchester City under manager Pep Guardiola when Enzo Maresca was an assistant in that season when he did a treble. He moved over to Chelsea. Remember, he actually spoke about moving and they granted it. That was why he moved to Chelsea in pursuit of game time. Recurrent injuries have limited his game time at Chelsea in recent times. But obviously, it's like the thunder is striking again where he wants to go back to Manchester. Probably because of family or other reasons. But this time around, he wants to go back to Manchester United. We all know that United are building. Michael Carrick is there on an interim basis, but they are planning to rejuvenate and get back to be one of the biggest teams in world football. But on this episode, we're talking about Cole Palmer's decision, transfer request, movement away from Chelsea, and what that could mean for a player who is in contract with Chelsea up until 2033. It's somewhat surprising, but we know that the exit of Enzo Maresca must have necessitated this decision of this young man to take this step. But we look at all of these for a player who's been with City since 2010 to 2020 before making that move to Chelsea. So we'll talk about all of this on this program. My name is Orji of Yadotobelo. I'll be doing this alone. I am very well surrounded by a lady and gentleman who will be aiding with these analysis. Yes, I'm flying to with gentlemen and lady to talk about this interesting topic today. Seated by my immediate right is Chiwendo. John, good to have you.
Thank you so much.
How did it go? Were you a week? How did it go? Wonderful, huh? Okay, good. And I feel like we are still in the area of the African Cup of Nations and all of the drama that came along with it. I have also with me here the man Podolski.
It's nice to be here, sir.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here.
Podolski had some good rice. We actually enjoyed it. Also, just after Podolski is the man Bonfrey. Bonfrey, you're welcome to this one. Amazing. When we talk about players like Cole Palmer, it reminds me very well of players like Owen. Players like, just to mention but a few players who started like being that talking point in world football at a very tender age. Lamine Yamal is one of those. You know, they made headlines, score goals as young as he is. As young as 23. Being second in the top scorers in the English Premier League, even playing as the number 10. So let's talk about the news that he's planning on handling a transfer request. The news said Manchester United are being tentatively linked with the sensational move for Chelsea talisman Cole Palmer. The playmaker is probably feeling homesick in London. Yes, I highlighted that fact. The fact that he's a Manchester boy and London feels far from home. For a player, if you look at his charisma and body language, you understand that he's a player that would want family around him. So he's homesick in London, having spent a vast majority of his life in Northern England, despite coming through the youth system at Manchester City. He was a United fan as a boy and would be a huge signing for the Red Devils. Now look at the factors. He wants to go back to Manchester, but as a boy, we all know that United is bigger than City over the years. So even as a Manchester boy, it's natural to feel more affiliation with United than City. Now, City could be the opportunity, and now he's in London. He's feeling homesick, feeling like, okay, I need to go back to where started for me. It just feel like going back to home. And if he can do all that other he has done at Chelsea in faraway London, I feel like Manchester would have more opportunity to help his boyhood fan club, help his city to rule England. I don't know. What are your takes?
For me, I think he's planning on leaving too early.
Okay.
Planning on leaving too early, considering the fact that his contract ends in 2021.
2033.
Yeah, so it's quite leaving on time. And most times the team will not want to. A team like Chelsea will not want to do away with such a talent at this time. At this kind of time where every team needs all hands on deck to get something out of the league or any trophy or get to the way for. So I think Chelsea, it will be hard for Chelsea to let him go. But considering the fact that he wants to go back to Manchester, I think he has what he wants there already. His mind is already made up that I want to go back to my hood where I started from. You understand? But going back to as a Manchester United fan, that's another issue. Because I was thinking that going back, you should have just said, okay, let me continue with the team I played as a youth.
To go back to City. I don't think City needs creative midfielder. The story here is saying that United are looking at swapping Bruno Fernandes with some money for Cole Palmer. And I feel like Bruno Fernandes is something Chelsea I want to jump on, comparing the kind of player that come from this two.
If you say so, then it means that Manchester United don't really know what they want. You can't compare Bruno Fernandes and Obama, in my own, because Fernandes has this what do you call it? He's matured in the game. He has this experience in the game as a player and as a player. You understand? The maturity and the quality is in him than Obama.
I feel like for a team planning for the future, if you're planning about now,
Manchester United team is not planning for the future.
They are.
If they are planning for the future, they should not be doing away with coaches the way they do away.
No, they are planning for the future because if you look at a Bruno Fernandes, he's not going to give you 5 years in football. I'm talking about
even the next 3 years.
Yeah, I'm talking about the last that is 23.
Uh-huh.
And so if you can get a Cole Palmer, say very experienced, he's not as experienced as Bruno Fernandes, but look at it properly, you understand that give him 3 years, he's going to be even better. That is, say injury does
I
not
hope
come.
after that 3 years, this same Cole Palmer will not be looking for a way to do
Go back
the
to
job.
City or
No.
somewhere.
Now,
That's
one thing I noticed about Manchester United recently, they are after players that want to play for them. They are not the one that will be begging you to come and play for them.
This is a very strong point.
That's one thing I noticed about Manchester
Very strong
United.
point.
Look at Sesko. Sesko, when Manchester United came, he told other club, go.
And that's how to build the mentality they are looking for.
Yeah.
United is feeling, since after Paul Pogba and a couple of players deals that didn't work at United, I feel like they now want players who are Manchester United conscious. The Wemos, the Seskos, the Palmer now that is joining the list. I feel like players who want to, because it's like the fallen giants kind of situation.
That's
They want
what I
people
see.
who are involved in the rebuilding processes,
Yes.
who won't take so much salaries, who the deals will not need much.
And they will give
negotiations,
100%.
100%.
Because even okay, look at what dog is playing recently. Is it not born to play defense? But see what he's playing. Every player are giving their best whenever they are
Called upon.
called upon, and they are doing great. So Cole Palmer coming to Manchester United, as a Manchester United fan, I am happy.
Okay, you feel like it's
Yes.
that should happen.
Yeah, something that should happen because one, you cannot build a team in one player. You cannot build the whole team in one player. Cole Palmer, we saw what he did in Manchester City, winning the treble. Even in Chelsea, we saw what he did in Club World Cup. That's why PSG, whenever they hear something about Cole Palmer, they are shaking because he's somebody who will come and deliver. Yes, Cole Palmer is not in the A game presently, but because we are seeing the injuries that is happening. But we saw that when Bruno had injury, Manchester United were shaking. We are looking for that creative midfield. Now Casemiro is about to go now. Who are we bringing to replace Casemiro? So we should think about, let us build for the future. Let us not build for something that will last 2-3 years. We start going to the market again. Because Cole Palmer recently, if you allow him if you give him more time, I believe that his price will go high. So it's a good advantage. And one thing about Kopama, he can adapt to Manchester system.
Okay.
He can adapt. And his family is also close by. He doesn't need to, instead of paying rent, so he should come back to the North London and be closer to his family.
And you think his friend that is the problem? I
Yes.
don't think rent is the
Yeah,
problem.
you must put all of the cats on the table.
Yeah.
See,
Staying in London.
why in North London he's not unhappy? He's playing well as a Chelsea.
He's the one handling the transfer request
Okay.
now. What does that show?
Handling his transfer request, fine. But what is there is that will Chelsea allow him to go? Because there's some clause.
There's a contract. But
There's a contract there.
players first moves.
Sesko did
A
that.
So
first
it's
move.
also.
Force move. When you force yourself out of the team, look at the likes of Isaac. You see,
Don't write Isak out recently.
Yeah.
Don't write him out yet.
see, he's not writing him out yet. The first a year, in the first 6 months of that your transfer will be hell for you most times because it will make the team the money as in the price tag of that player will increase because they know you are demanding that you want to win and the team that is coming for you has agreed with you. You understand ahead of time. So the team will want to do everything, and the team that you are going to be moving out from will want to do everything within their power to get. Oh, since these people are coming demanding for this person, and this guy wants to go there, let's look for a way to hike.
Yeah, very well. Kopama will not cost anything less than over £1 million anytime in the day. Even with player swapping, you're going to be sure Chelsea are getting over £1 million, over £100 million for Palmer, obviously. And I think if they include enough money with Bruno Fernandes, which I doubt if he would want to play for Chelsea, I feel like his Premier League independence might be over.
Maybe heading to
Saudi Arabia, but I feel like he's not a happy person having not won the Premier League. What's your take on this?
I think Cole Palmer going to Manchester United is a very good idea. I mean, if you see what he's a manager. One thing I love about him is that he focused more on the midfield because he's a transitional kind of manager. Because under Alex Ferguson, you could see that under Alex Ferguson, they used him as a supporting midfielder. You can also come in and play as a defensive midfielder. So that defense, that midfield entirely, if you see that game against Manchester City, you will see that the midfield took a different shape under Michael Carrick. We could see the Casemiro. I was watching that game and I said, this is the Casemiro I used to see in Real Madrid. There was a difference in that midfield. That's to tell you that is where he builds his focus on. And so bringing a Kopama, I would be very happy if Kopama comes and play under Michael Carrick because I believe he knows what it means to control the midfield because he has been there, he has seen it all, he has played it all, he has won it all. So I believe that if he comes under Michael Carrick, he will do well. But the problem is, will they keep Michael Carrick? Because it's not about leaving. It's under Enzo Maresca. We saw under Maresca rather. We saw a different Kopama. He was able to use them in different ways, and it worked. But the problem is, under a new manager, can they tap out that potential from him? He's a very good player. You can play him in the wing, you can play him in the midfield. He plays everywhere except the defensive anyway. So I believe under Michael Carrick, he will do well. But the problem is, will Manchester United keep Michael Carrick after this season? Will they keep him on a permanent basis? Or they'll bring in another manager, like maybe they'll bring in a Conte who have a different dynamics.
But what about Alonso? This could be a conversation ongoing between Manchester United
Who have a different dynamics.
and Enzo Maresca.
And then aside this possibility, yes, he will do well in Manchester United with this new manager. But the problem is, as a young player, when you are making all this signing and all that, you don't think of the future. You don't think one day I can wake up and decide to be unhappy. They give you a contract, you sign a contract of 6 years, you call a contract of 4 years, not thinking something like this may come up. I think it's going to be a very big fight. You may be unhappy, and somebody like, if you look at Todd Bodley, he's not that kind of man that you want to pressurize. If you don't want to stay, if it's gonna be a problem for you, you don't want to stay here, you will stay here. I mean, Sterling is still in Chelsea, and they're still paying him. The problem is, will Todd Bodley want to let go of a player like Cole Palmer? He's 23 years, for goodness sake. He's a good potential business deal that he will want to struck. And if you let him go now because he's unhappy, stay, we'll be paying you. You sign a contract, you must live up to that contract. And that's it. And you're not leaving anytime soon. It's not like your contract is ending in 2 years, in 3 years. We have time. So it's going to be a problem for you.
But I think that there's a lot of Cole Palmers out there. If Chelsea can be able to cash in, say get 170 million pounds for Cole Palmer or get 200 million pounds,
and you think a Manchester United will want to sell, will want to buy Cole Palmer for that amount?
You never can tell. If you need a player, what do you
Manchester United right now is not financially stable to get that kind of to do that kind of
still
deal.
one of the richest clubs.
It's still one of the reasons, but if you notice what is going on, they are trying to rebuild. They would not want to spend that huge amount of money on a player, except you are swapping. And what is the possibility that Bruno Fernandes will want to go to Chelsea? That's a different ball game.
Big point also.
You would not want to. So the possibility of him coming to Manchester United, will he do well? If he comes to that, he will do well. But with Chelsea want to let him go, I doubt that.
I sincerely really doubt in a way because I feel like he's one of Chelsea's best players. And it is very difficult to collapse.
He's the one that won the best player in Chelsea last season.
And if you're giving a team your best player, then you're actually saying, I'm not willing to win the league. I'm not willing to contest for the top 4. Maybe if he was moving to a Barca or a Real or Bayern or Paris Saint-Germain, it would have just been different.
Not your own rival.
Yeah, just inside the 70. We've seen what is happening to Chelsea and United in that top 4 battle just this season. So you don't give an edge over your. I feel like that is why it was difficult for Newcastle to let Issa join Liverpool. Yeah. They would have preferred. And we saw it also with Atalanta and Lukman with Inter Milan.
How will you go to my rival?
You know, we saw it also with Osimhen and Napoli. Go to Turkey is fine. Go to Chelsea is fine, but not in the same league in the Serie A. So you don't want to give, especially a player that you know. I feel like
that can hurt you any day.
Yeah, I feel like Obama is here to hit top gear.
And to be honest, if you had, I don't know some of these young players who give them this idea, like Erling Haaland now. Look at the contract Manchester City gave to him, and he thinks he will continue to shine on that because Pep Guardiola just know how to use. Anytime you get the ball in the midfield, always look for Erling Haaland. But when a new manager comes in and say no, somebody like Enzo Maresca, I don't think Enzo Maresca built his team under one player. Today you say it's Cole Palmer, tomorrow it will be Reece James, next tomorrow it will be Caicedo. You cannot hold him that. So if you are bringing a manager into, if Enzo Maresca goes to Manchester City, you will see that Eliana will begin to complain.
Then
there's going to be a problem.
But he could be heading to Real. I feel like those top players.
That's where
they were heading to Real with
the contract you sign. So if the contract is as like you're signing a 5 years contract, not signing a contract of 10 years, and you expect to just leave the club that way. It doesn't work that way. You will stay in that club.
Now let's round it up with the fact that, don't you think that the managerial position at Chelsea and the problem with the hierarchy and the problem Enzo Maresca had with the medical team, who are saying Palmer is not fit enough, and Palmer was in the center of this controversy that sacked Enzo Maresca, or that Enzo Maresca walked away from. Do you think the managerial position at Chelsea could be one of the reasons why Palmer is unhappy? Because I feel like Noah is not the kind of manager that he would want to play under, having come from a Pep Guardiola, now to an Enzo Maresca, and now to a man from Strasbourg. I feel like players want to play under some kind of managers, especially with the views of things you can win.
Yes.
I feel like he's beginning to feel like the Premier League title, which is like the most important thing for any Chelsea player now, for Cole Palmer now, is even closer to come from United than from Chelsea.
Yes.
And I mean, if you look at it, Chelsea, you will know that bringing a coach from Strasbourg, what does it tell you? It tells you just come, gather the sheep. Whatever happens at the end of the day, we understand. It's just like when Arsenal went for Mikel Arteta. I mean, nobody will be thinking that Mikel Arteta will come into the first season and be really tired. Nobody saw it. I mean, how many seasons has he has spent over 3 seasons? Nobody is pressurizing him. Nobody is pressurizing him because they believe he came to rebuild. And it's a player who wants to win trophies, is hungry for trophy. We don't want to stay under Mikel Arteta now because he believes that no, this man is not heading anywhere.
He can't even be sure.
So any player that wants to win title would not want to stay under him. But the fact that he's a good manager, he's a good manager. If you look at all the players in Arsenal, he's bringing out some qualities, a very good quality in them. I mean, look at Gabriel. If you are talking about one of the top 5 defenders in the world, you bring out Gabriel. Who was he when Mikel Arteta brought him out? So this is the kind of thing we are talking about. But I want to say, I've seen it all. Remember, this Obama has seen it all in Manchester City. He has won the league with Manchester City. So he is testing for more trophies. And you can't come and put me under a manager that is coming from Strasbourg. No, that kind of manager maybe it will take another 5 years before he will begin to build a team and then begin to talk about trophies.
But
so it's going to be difficult.
With what you're saying now, you're still arriving to that same point that even going to Manchester United, it's still the same thing.
It's not going to be it's not no. You know why? Look at you know why? Is not that kind of manager.
But they are saying Carrick hold it down till get a coach. But Chelsea saying Strasbourg take till is it 5 years?
6.5 years. 6.5
years contract.
And looking at Manchester United now, and looking at Chelsea, both teams are on the same page.
They are not.
You know what I said? They are
not.
You will say that Chelsea was ahead.
They are both strong.
But no.
Reason no one was appointed. United have got an edge.
Yes.
Now they have a Michael Carrick who is just holding it down. And the consultation is ongoing. In fact, they are not talking to Alex Ferguson. They want to get a manager that they feel will give them the league. And if you believe, that's why he made a very valid point. If you believe in the United project, it's a project of who wants to do the project. Now, what happened? Who took over? Fletcher. What happened? Fletcher was taken off once they felt like it was not going. Trust me, Carrick might not finish it if it's not a brilliant result. They are now
at this
very
time,
much
results is what they want. Yes.
And if you're going to be result oriented, in fact, they've got one of the best attacks in the league right now.
Exactly.
And if they can bring a Cole Palmer, they'll have one of the best midfield in the league right now. And if they can, harmonize and get that defense working, we saw what happened to Onana at goal post. Now, but when you look at Chelsea, Disasi is in discussion. There's a Raheem Sterling somewhere. There is Chalobah is in the middle. There's a conversation. Chalobah is coming back.
We want to use the win trophy.
There is a certain Colwill who is out injured and the team is shaky. There's a goalkeeper who came from Brighton. They've been able to muster some courage and do it in the FIFA Club World Cup. But the coach that done this is gone. And there's a new coach from Strasbourg. Strasbourg is co-owned by Chelsea owners. And he's going to do 6 years and 6 months. And I'm far away from home in London. And I feel like I want to go back to Manchester. Our city is a shaky ship. It's like it's Pep Guardiola's last season. We don't know who is coming. I feel like the biggest project in Manchester now or in Northern London or in Northern England is the project at United. And unless they make a filthy mistake of not appointing a manager of the highest caliber, and I feel like after the World Cup, they'll be managers. Of course. If Ancelotti fails to win the World Cup with Brazil, they'll be jobless. There will be, who is the man with the US national team?
Pochettino.
Who is Naples. There's a Zinedine Zidane that's without a job. He's waiting for the man who is taking over Didier Deschamps to get done so he could look at the French national team job. There's a Thierry Henry. There's a Cesc Fabregas at Como. I feel like there is need for United to sit back, and I feel like 6 months is a lot of time to come together and say this is the man who take us to promised land. But Chelsea hastily just in some weeks. 6 years. So even before the sack of Enzo Maresca, they knew the man for the job was going to be Enzo. No one, because that was the model. Of course, there was no room to consult. There's an Oliver Glasner. I forgot to mention him the other time. There is
even Espirito Santos is also a good manager.
Then I would even prefer Mourinho over Enzo anytime, any day, because trust me, Mourinho can't go to Chelsea in 2 seasons with the kind of players and not make a statement.
Even with what was happening to Manchester United, he still came and he won a trophy. That's a manager that is trophy oriented. That's the kind of manager you should go for.
Is England going to win the World Cup? I don't know. Is Obama going to be in that ship, in that plane to the World Cup? I even doubt. Because of the way things are going. And if you look at the way the likes of Gallagher are trying to make this January move, all the English boys are coming back. They understand that maybe we have to start training for the World Cup is to be in England.
Yes, that's it. And where you easily notice.
And then football politics must apply. A player from Manchester must come to the World Cup. A player from Chelsea, they must be considered. But you have to consider the number, that what's the balance. And Thomas Tuchel is going on around watching. I feel like the Manchester United project, correct me if I'm wrong, is stronger than the Chelsea project
Right
at
now.
the moment, until Liam Rezenua proves us all wrong by grinding out a top 4 finish for Chelsea and all. Okay, I feel like, do you have any other points you want to drop about this one before we call it a day?
For me, I still believe that no matter how it goes, Obama staying at Chelsea should be the best for him.
Okay.
Chelsea has more to offer to him than
Yeah, Chelsea may have more to offer to him, but he should follow his heart. And I believe United should continue believing in a player who is ready to offer them, not them offering, not them begging a player to please come and play for us. These are those players who should come and sacrifice. Whether you are being played defense, midfield, anywhere, you should give your 100% anytime you wish.
100% is what teams ask for. But let me still remind you that at 2020, when he moved to the Man City top team, promoted, he played till 2023 and just had 19 caps. And I felt like in that season when he won the treble, he wasn't very much involved in that team. And that is why he wanted to go to Chelsea. And Chelsea is working 82 appearances, 41 goals for an attacking midfielder. Awesome statistics. And he's been called up to the English national team since 2023. And he made 12 appearances and 2 goals. That's amazing for a young man who made his debut at City in 2020 and was later part of the squad that won a continental treble. I mean, the Premier League, FA Cup, and UEFA Champions League in 2023. Signed for Chelsea for £40 million and enjoyed the breakout debut season, earning multiple honours, including the PFA Fans Player of the Year award, Young Player of the Year award. In 2025, Palmer helped Chelsea to win both the UEFA Conference League and FIFA Club World Cup, being them the man of the match in both finals and receiving the Golden Ball in the FIFA Club World Cup. So when you look at all of these that he's done and the way the Chelsea project is taking a decline, I feel like he wants to go to a project that will be working. This is where agents come in, and this is where we talk about being homesick and all of that. And if a Bruno Fernandes wants to walk away, who is the best person for an attacking midfield job at United? Kopama is the name. And for a player you bought for £40 million that have given Chelsea all that they've done, I feel like Chelsea could sell you 120, 150 million pounds. That's enough. And they could use that money to recruit. That's why I said there are a lot of Kopamas. Do you believe?
Of course.
And you know, there is a lot of players I feel like could fit in. There's an Olise Bayan. I don't think Olise will cost anywhere near £80 million. He wouldn't.
The problem will you want to come? That's
Why?
the thing.
For the right money and the right salary. Why not?
I mean,
But
he's
he's
enjoying himself.
he's enjoying the wonders
Bayern
of
Munich. I mean, he's not an English player. If he was an English player, there will be urgency. I think the person you should be talking about is maybe Joe Penny, and maybe they have to drag him back to the English league. But if it is for his own, he's enjoying himself in Bayern Munich, and he's a French player. So talking about
Napoli again. What's his name?
McTominay.
It's another player that I felt like United should take in his direction. He took the Serie A by storm 2 seasons ago, and these are the examples of players who feel like maybe when they are given the right role and the right management, they could blow some.
But I don't think McTominay wants to come back.
For me, when N'Golo Kante left Chelsea for Saudi, it felt like nobody was going to do that defensive midfield. But look at Caicedo. When Onana walked away, look at what the man at the goalpost of United is doing. So I feel like there is a player who can replace any player anytime, anything. Feel free to be a part of the conversation via the comment section. Drop what you feel. Should Kopama stick to Chelsea? Should Chelsea do all they can to keep their best player? Or should they let an unhappy player who wants to return to his boyhood city go? He's a fan of United, and I feel like helping United at this time You could become a court hero at United if you make that move and things start working at United. Who says United can rise again?
You can rise.
Many years ago, it was Liverpool who was in the decline before a certain Jurgen came and they rose. When was the last time Liverpool won the league before the club? Right?
Over 19 years.
In fact, Steven Gerrard could not win the league at Liverpool, even until the day he left. You can always remember the legendary Steven. So when you look at all of this, you could conclude that it's all about let's watch what pans out as the days uncovers. I think I will have to thank you guys enough for being a part of this one. We'll see you again on the next episode. Do well to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget that the program is running sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. It's to www.maxbet.ng. In fact, there is a 1,000 naira that is up there for grabs just for registering. So I urge you all to do the needful. Thank you very much for being a part of this one. Adios.